Good morning, champions for freedom and justice. You are really a sight for sore eyes. Welcome to the Rebel Alliance. We need each and every one of you. So today I have some bad news for you and some good news. So we're going to start with the bad so that we can end on the good. And you probably know a lot of this. Because of the actions of the people in this building, Idaho is currently the worst state in America for women. We have the most extreme abortion ban in the nation, with, as you know, absolutely no exception for women's health or for a non-viable fetus. You are forced to carry a fetus for 9 months that has no possibility of survival, no skull, no brain, no nothing. You are forced to go to 9 months, even if it causes the pregnant woman to permanently lose fertility, lose a limb, lose a body organ, become permanently paralyzed. And this was not an accident. When this bill came through, the sponsor of the ban was asked, "What about the woman? Doesn't she matter?" And he said, and it's on tape, "Not as much as the fetus." Boo indeed. We got a small reprieve when a federal judge ordered that under federal law, hospitals can perform abortions in a medical emergency when required to save the woman's health. The GOP politicians in this building, though, said, "No way, we don't care what kind of emergency she's facing. She cannot have an abortion." And they spent $500,000 of your tax dollars to get that order overturned. They took it to the current Supreme Court that overturned Roe, and they got that order vacated so that now there is no protection for women, even in the direst of medical emergencies. Boo indeed. And the upshot, as you know, is that we are not safe in this country, in this state. Our daughters don't want to return, and our doctors are fleeing the state in droves, threatening everybody's health. And what about contraception? So that we don't have these unwanted pregnancies. Well, they spent 7 years blocking Medicaid expansion, which would have allowed free contraception to low-income women. 4 times they killed Senator Wintrow's bill to allow for extended contraception access. And okay, so you can't have contraception and you can't have abortions. Well, what about once a child is born? What are we doing for them then? Well, we're one of only 4 states in America that has no public pre-K. We had an opportunity to get that pre-K using federal money that wouldn't have cost us any state dollars, but they turned down that money because they didn't want to accept anything that would make it easier for a woman to leave the house. So, what about the fact that Idaho has a super high maternal mortality rate, higher than the maternal mortality rate in Nicaragua? Well, over our screaming objections last year, they terminated the Maternal Mortality Review Committee that investigated maternal deaths, leaving Idaho the only state in America that does not have a Maternal Mortality Review Committee. I can only speculate, but certainly our abortion laws are likely to lead to the deaths of more pregnant women, and maybe they didn't want a committee collecting that data and publicizing it. We are also the only abortion banning state in the country that does not provide a year of postpartum Medicaid coverage for women. And as if all that weren't bad enough, we're getting a bill coming in here on Monday morning, House Bill 400, which takes out all references to fetus in Idaho code and changes it to preborn child. Legal analysts tell us that this is likely to end up blocking in vitro fertilization because apparently even if you want to be pregnant, it's the state and not you who gets to decide that. So we're looking in this state at a pincer maneuver on women. There's no support for contraception, no reproductive freedom, and they deny support to women after they've been forced into childbirth. Now, I used to think it was alarmist and overstating the matters when people talked about the Republican war on women. But frankly, after what I've seen in this building, I don't know what else to call it. I am mad. And as RBG would say, I dissent. Got my little dissent collar here. Are you mad? Are you mad? Are we gonna fight back? Well, now for the good news. There is a lot that we can do about it. Now, Senator Wintrow, who I think is in the crowd today, she is a woman who never, ever gives up. And there she is. I see her right there in front of me. Well, she's been trying this is her 5th time trying to get 6 months coverage for contraception. She got the bill printed, easy bill to remember, Senate Bill 1234, up in the Senate Commerce Committee. So please write and testify in support of that. Maybe 5th time will be the charm, and we can finally at least get a shred of support for women in contraception. And please speak up on House Bill 400, which is coming up for hearing on Monday morning. In vitro fertilization has made it possible for so many loving families to have kids, and we cannot let this overreaching legislature take this away from us. So please, first step, speak up during session. But now let's talk about elections. Wouldn't it be nice to have people in this building who we didn't have to beg, usually fruitlessly, to allow us a shred of our rights and autonomy? Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice if we actually had elected representatives who just believed that women are equal citizens who are entitled to full autonomy? Yeah. So, speaking of voting, we can fix this. We know that the majority of voters in Idaho disapprove of our abortion laws, and if they can get their rights back in Kansas and Wisconsin and Ohio, we can do it here. Now, I hate to be partisan, as you all know, I'm a Democrat, and I hope with every fiber of my being that this someday will not be a partisan issue. I dream of going to the ballot someday and having such amazing candidates on there I can barely choose between them. But that is not where we are today, folks. And we have to call a spade, because if we're gonna fix this, everybody needs to know who's doing it to us. Yes. The predicament we are in was created solely by Republican politicians. And when you go to vote in 10 months, in 2024, there will not be a single pro-choice Republican on your ballot. I hope someone proves me wrong, but I haven't seen it yet in 10 years. So, first thing to do, in the name of all that is holy, register and vote. That's kind of the threshold requirement. But every seat in this legislature is up for election this fall. And there are people who are fighting desperately morning, noon, and night to restore our rights, and they need your help. They need people to help knock doors, make calls, stuff envelopes, host house parties, vote, volunteer, donate. There are so many organizations here, they have tables that need your help. And some of these races that we see are being decided by 6 votes, 7 votes, 38 votes. I mean, these are razor sharp things. You go out and you spend a couple hours on a weekend, you could be the person that swings this election. We need you, and I know you're all busy. I do this full time. I know most of you can't do that. But we're in a crisis situation, and we need every one of you to make democracy your side hustle if we're going to fix the situation we're in right now. The health and lives of ourselves and all the girls and women that we love are on the line in Idaho right now. So it is our duty to fight for our rights, and it is our duty to win. And I want you to say that with me 3 times. It is our duty to fight for our rights, and it is our duty to win. It is our duty to fight for our rights, and it is our duty to win. It is our duty to fight for our rights, and it is our duty to win. Thank you, everybody.
Good. Guys, I was worried about the weather and everything.